Sure.
No, I'm taking a video.
Oh.
I got you in a video. Show me your battle wound.
Don't look at my gut. I can't strut with my gut.
Okay. Okay. Go.
Are we gonna do the video now? Okay. So, boys and gents and ladies and women, girls and things. So, I got this thing today. I went out to lunch with my grandparents, and my grandpa was like, "Hey, I have an old horn if you want it." What? He's like, "It's like an old Oogle horn. I used to have it on all my cars when I was younger." What? Really? He's like, "Yeah. I've had it on a bunch of my cars since I was like a teenager, basically." And I asked him the first vehicle he said he had in it was a 1937 Ford. That's what he had this on. And he kept it and transferred it from different vehicles, and he still has it. He said he's had this thing for like 60 years. And I want to hook it up and see what it sounds like. So I played with it a little bit already, and it sounds pretty cool, so I want to share it with you guys. But this thing, my grandfather has had this thing for 60 years, at least, and it was a horn that he had on his vehicles. First one, 1937 Ford. I mean, it's just really cool to see the stuff you keep. And he's never told me about this before. Never, ever, ever told me that he even has this thing. So he said it's a 6-volt horn, which makes sense because a lot of the old electronics and vehicles were 6 volts. So I hooked it up on 12 volt. He said he tested it this morning. And I do have a little step-down module, which is what I want to kind of show you guys. This is pretty cool. Come over here, this videographer. This probably looks just like a big pile of garbage. But this is kind of a pile of garbage, but I've had this thing for several years, and it's just a series of diodes on aluminum flat stock. So there's the part number 32787 you can see on a bunch of them. So what happens when I hook this thing up, I'll show you guys on the multimeter here. If I put the ground lead on the block, and then I put the positive on the alternator, you can see I have 12.1 volts. But each one of these little sections steps it down a half a volt. So there's 11.5. There's 11. There's about 10.2. There's 9.7. So through this little series, it's basically just like a step-down module because it's going through a series of diodes and reduces the voltage. So the reason that I originally built these, and I had a couple of them that I use, I originally built these because I was using, when I did stereos back in the day, I built a 16-volt stereo system that would run on 18 volts. But essentially what you have to do then, because I didn't want to run the head unit, like the regular stereo, I didn't want to run that on 18 volts. I wanted to run it on like a normal 12 to 14 volt system. So I needed something that would step it down about 6 volts. So I tested these things, and I did on like a little wooden block. I used a series of these. Okay,
Why?
so memory on the phone filled up there. So what I was getting at was I'm using a series of these things basically to step the voltage down, and I had a little wooden block, and then that's what I would use to step the solid 18. I would charge the system at about 18.5 volts, but I still wanted 14 volts to 12 volts on the head unit, so I didn't fry that or any of the other electronics. So basically what I would do is I would run the entire electrical system, like the stereo, on the 18 volts, and then all of the vehicle's electronics. Whew. Rough night. So I would run the stereo on the 18 volts, and then all of the vehicle electronics would still be on the 12 to 14. So that's where you're seeing this. I can show it one more time. This is probably a little bit excessive of an explanation, but now we're back down to 9.2. And I did this because my grandpa said that I should probably try to figure out how to step it down to 6 volts, which we have the concept already. The concept is alive. I got hit in the face with a wire, but I just want to show you guys this. So we'll do 12 volts, and I might just have to run it on 12 because it's kind of hilarious. Yeah, that's 12. That's the 12 volts. So let's try the 9. Let's try the 9. It sounds like a cow. Sounds like a cow. So now we'll go up a half a volt at a time from cow mode. Back to cow mode. So let me know what you guys think of the horn. I don't know. I think it's really cool. Really cool. I'm excited about this. I love old stuff, especially stuff like old stuff from my family. And this is good. I think I'm going to put it on the red truck because the red truck, the Ranger, was my great-grandfather's truck, and this is my grandfather's horn. So that makes a lot of sense to me. So let me know what you guys think. 12 volts or cow mode? Let's do it.